of the villain dies.
Do you want to learn how to make videos like this?
Welcome to the freak show. Tap through the V-pose. 잘난 검지를 접어 남은 건 나만 먹어. Let your freak show. It's not illegal. 마음껏 합리해. 내가 따라오르게. Yeah, yeah. 미소. 시고. Let's go to the freak show. 미소. 미쳐. Let's go to the freak show. Please 그녀로 날 설명 못했지. Told you I'm the beauty and the beast. 준비됐어 두 눈을 비빌 me. It's all you need. 비켜줄래 거기 실례는 실례할게.
Then let me show you. Hi everybody! This is my 1000th video, so to celebrate this, I'll be revealing some tips and tricks for new K-tubers. I've been a K-tuber for over 2 years now, and I've learned many things along the way. Some of you have been asking for advice, so this video is a compilation of my best tips. The video will be separated into 4 parts: general advice, the base editing process, editing details, and lastly, my favorite fonts and effects. This video is specifically directed towards shorts that are less than 1 minute long, but some tips can be used for longer videos as well. I'm currently using the mobile app CapCut to create my content, but unfortunately some of the things I'll mention are only available for CapCut Pro users. I'll try to give you free options as well, though they might not be as good. Before we start the video, I'd like to say that all of my advice is based on my own style and opinions. That doesn't mean other people are doing it wrong or that this is the only way to build your channel. Not everything will work for you, and that's okay, so don't take it too seriously. Now let's dive in. I'm sure you've heard the saying, consistency is key, and it's the perfect advice when you're first starting your channel. When I say consistency, I mean that you need to show your audience that you're committed and give them something to remember you by. This tip covers everything from editing styles and content ideas to your username and profile picture. If you constantly change these things, it's going to be harder for people to find/recognize you, and therefore they're less likely to subscribe. Let me put it like this. If you see a video you really like, then you might click on the channel, only to realize that there's a huge difference in content. Some videos are about dogs, some are financial tips, and some are videos from their recent concerts. Most of the time you wouldn't subscribe to that person because you're not interested in their content, only the one video you've already liked and moved on from. Consistency gives people a reason to come back for new content instead of scrolling and forgetting about you. Another way to get a recurring audience is to find your own personal style. Everything from how you edit to your fonts and color schemes, but this takes time. I only started finding my own personal style these last few months, and I'm probably going to change it even more the longer my channel lives on. In order to find something you like and feels unique to you, you have to experiment a little once in a while. It's only when you start experimenting that you realize what you like and dislike, and that's how you'll slowly develop your own vibe. But like I said earlier, constantly making drastic changes to your editing style will confuse viewers, so try not doing it too often or only change one thing at a time. With experimentation comes less great outcomes that you might not be happy with, but I encourage you to post them anyways. Sometimes we simply focus too much on the little details that we forget about the bigger picture. Perfectionism is a slippery slope, so it's important to not let it get in the way of your creativity. Even bad videos are a part of your journey, and when you look back a few months later, you'll get to see how much you've truly improved. The same goes for your videos that flopped. I see a lot of people deleting their posts, especially on TikTok, because it didn't get that many views or interactions. But I never understood why. Underperforming videos are part of being a content creator, and usually it has nothing to do with you or even the video itself. It just got buried in an algorithm that desperately tries to organize all the content that's constantly being uploaded. Posting on multiple platforms like TikTok or Instagram can boost your following too, so I recommend making accounts on different platforms if possible. It also helps you connect with even more people, and you open yourself up to new varieties of content. I only have YouTube and TikTok, and I literally post the exact same videos on both of them, but with a few exceptions. It takes slightly more time to post on multiple platforms, but the effort you put into making the video stays the same. A big part of being a content creator is also interacting with your audience. Being kind and respectful goes a long way, and it's important to remember that everybody has different opinions. It's okay to be inspired by other creators and use their ideas, but remember to always give credits. If it's a trend that many creators are doing, credits are not necessary. But if you use specific ideas taken from others, then credit is a must. And even if you give credits, copying someone else's video to a T is never acceptable. Using their ideas is okay, but you have to make it into your own video. Don't copy their exact layout, clips, and fonts. It's a simple way to acknowledge someone's hard work and show your appreciation. I'd also like to remind you that everything you put on the internet, whether it's videos or comments, can affect other people. Others might be hurt by your words, and the thing is, you'll never know if your comments lead to someone hurting themselves or taking their own lives. Even celebrities and idols can be affected by your content, so please be careful. Just because it wasn't your intention to hurt someone doesn't mean you won't be held responsible. That's why it's so important to not write or do anything harmful or offensive online. And no, being polite doesn't mean you let people walk all over you. Unfortunately, as a content creator, people are always going to hate on you no matter what you do, so don't be afraid to delete hate comments, block certain accounts, or turn off the comment section. Do whatever you need to do to protect yourself and your mental health. If you feel like you need a break from creating videos, then take one. If you feel anxious about people hating on your videos, then turn off the comment section before posting. Don't force yourself to post content every day if that doesn't work for you. You matter more than likes and views. And don't forget to have fun. Creating videos should be enjoyable, not a huge stress factor. Take your time and post silly videos that make you happy. Another thing that makes a huge difference and opens up your channel to an even broader audience is to make your videos accessible for everyone. I'm disabled, so I always make sure that everyone can watch my videos. I think of struggles others might have even if I don't experience it myself, because I know what it's like to run into these types of problems. If you aren't disabled, here are a few tips to help make your channel more accessible. Firstly, always use captions if you or an AI voice is talking in the video. This makes it easier for deaf people or those with hard of hearing, as well as people who struggle with auditory processing disorder. Even non-disabled people can profit from this. Having captions means people can watch the video on silent if they're out in public, or simply don't have headphones. CapCut offers automatic captions that you can use, though I personally don't like them and prefer to write it myself. It takes a lot of time, but it's worth it. Secondly, make sure your texts are always readable. Use fonts that are easy to read and make sure the text is big enough for people with poor eyesight to understand the content. Never sacrifice accessibility for aesthetic purposes. The text also needs to stand out from the background. Using rims on the text can help make it easier to read and differentiate from the background clip. I also see a lot of creators color match the text to something else in the video, but that makes it very hard to read, even for people with good eyesight. So imagine how difficult it must be for those with poor eyesight or those who are colorblind. Lastly, it's important to always have flash warnings before any sudden flashes. Not only is it a warning for people who are sensitive to lights so that they can prepare themselves, but it can also be life-saving for people who struggle with seizures. If you're not sure if your video contains dangerous flashes, then I suggest putting a flash warning just in case. It's better to be safe than sorry. These are just some examples, but the most important thing is that you listen if someone speaks up. You can't always predict others' struggles, so just do your best. And if someone comments tips on how to improve, listen and actually implement it. That's the best you can do, learning and growing. By doing these small yet meaningful things, you create a safe and accessible space for everybody to enjoy, which in the end will bring you more subscribers and viewers. My last general advice is to not solely use templates. There's nothing wrong with using CapCut templates every once in a while, but don't make it a consistent habit. If you only rely on templates, then you won't improve as an editor, and personally, I think it takes away the fun of being a creator. I'm not saying it's a crime to use them, but try to create your own videos, even if you're still new to editing. If you're new to creating videos, chances are you don't know where to start. Finding clips to use and then putting it all together to make one cohesive video can be tricky, so in this part, I'm going to show you how I create the base of every single one of my videos. Start by picking out a clip for the intro. The intro needs to be different from the rest of the video in order for it to flow nicely. I personally prefer to use relay dances or music and performance videos, but it's up to you. All the clips I use are screen recorded on YouTube, so just search for whatever it is you want on there. There are always loads of fan-made and unofficial video clips on there, but I recommend only using official ones unless necessary. For example, if you want the intro to be a studio performance or performance video, use the ones from the group's channel or other high-quality channels like Studio Choom or 1TheK. When you then screen record, make sure you click on the highest resolution possible to make the clips a good quality. Using 2160p is the best, but it's not always available. In that case, use 1440p or 1080p. Anything lower than that will lower your video quality. After that, you put the video you've recorded into CapCut. Make sure to change the ratio to 9:16, which works perfectly on both YouTube and TikTok. Sometimes the automatic ratio you get when you start a new project might look like it's okay to upload, but it's not. And you'll likely get black lines on either side of your video when you later post it on YouTube. You can use multiple songs in the video if you want, but I recommend only using one that plays the entire duration of the video. It makes the video flow nicer and doesn't pull the attention off of the actual topic you're trying to convey. I personally prefer to not use live sounds or keep sound effects from music videos, simply because I find it distracting, noisy, and a bit annoying. Instead, I record the song on Spotify, extract the audio, and then I put it over the clips. The only exception is if the live vocals, sounds, fan chants, etc. are relevant to the video. This is totally up to you though. Also, in order to avoid copyright, always make sure the short is less than 1 minute long. Otherwise, YouTube will block it so no one can see it. But this is only if there's music playing in your video. Now back to the intro. It should be between 6 to 10 seconds long. Less than 6 seconds is too fast, and longer than 10 seconds may make your viewers lose interest. I personally like to use the pre-chorus for the intro, so when the first beat of the chorus comes, it smoothly transitions you from the intro and into the actual video. It's a clean way to connect the intro to the body of the video while still keeping them separated. For the rest of the video, use other types of clips than the intro. I always use fan cams here, but it doesn't really matter as long as it's not the same as the intro. I recommend using the same type of clips for the body of the video to not confuse or distract viewers. If you choose to use fan cams like me, then stick to it for that video. Like I said, consistency is key, and even though you can use different ones in different videos, it should be the same within a singular video. I also make sure to use the same type of fan cams as well. For example, Studio Choom fan cams are very different from music show fan cams, and so are fan cams taken by fans during concerts. As for the length of the clips, it depends on how many you have, but try to make them the same length. It doesn't always have to be exact, but you can't have one clip be 5 seconds and the next one be 12. That just doesn't make sense, and it throws off the entire rhythm. The last clip, however, can be a bit longer, since it symbolizes the end of the video. If you want to, you can also add a short ending like, "Thank you for watching," or "What do you think?" But I personally don't when it comes to shorts. This part is not so much about the basics and more about small details that can improve your video. All of these are optional and totally up to you, so implement the ones that you like and that matches your specific editing style. Like I said earlier, I like to transition the intro to the main body of the video when the first beat of the chorus hits. To make it feel smoother, I add a transition between the two clips. My go-to is the pull-in transition because it's both simple and effective. I also like that it pulls you into the video, both literally and metaphorically. If you want to, you can add transitions between every clip, though I only use it right after the intro. I also often use the fade in and fade out effect for the song that's playing. This is especially important if you've decided to use multiple songs in one short. By using this fade method, the songs doesn't just suddenly cut off and gives you a smooth transition into or out of the song in question. That way it's easier on the ears. The same can be done for texts, though there's more effects to choose from when it comes to this area. I only use text effects for the beginning and end of my video, but once again, feel free to use effects in every clip if that's something you want. When you're adjusting the size of your text, be careful not to let it touch the edge of the video. Usually the video automatically zooms in a bit when you export it, so if it's too close to the edge, it might get slightly cut off. Either way, having your text be too big isn't good because the chances of it getting partially blocked by the like or comment button increases. If I watch a video where I can't read the text for whatever reason, I'd either feel very annoyed or I'd simply just scroll away. Another thing that can annoy your viewers is if there's cameras or staff visible in the clips. This obviously doesn't count if the video is literally about that, but otherwise it can be pretty distracting or just look out of place. Sometimes there's also no work around it. If you specifically want that fan cam at that specific moment of the video, then there's not much to do about it. However, if you have the option to pick another fan cam, or simply use another portion of it, where the idol in question isn't obscured, then I suggest you do that. For example, I always try to use clips with no cameras visible, and where the idol in focus isn't behind a bunch of other people, but when it comes to videos like line distribution, I'm more lenient. The reason for that is because I use fan cams from the same stage in those types of videos. Instead of just using different clips from different groups, I actually line them up so that the dance matches to the music. So it's pretty much impossible not to have a single camera be shown in the video at least once. Pro tip: if you do this, make sure to cut each clip off at the very beginning or end of a new movement. That way the transition looks smoother. Watermarks are also something that can annoy me from time to time. All official fan cams have watermarks at the lower or upper end of the video, and sometimes both. Not only does it look out of place, but it also makes it easier for YouTube to copyright your video. To fix it, all you have to do is zoom in slightly, and voila, it's gone. This means that the idol might go out of frame if the person shooting the fan cam doesn't react fast enough to sudden movements. That's why I use keyframes to track the idol. There's mainly two different ways to do this. The first method is to track a body part of your choice. For example, the nose would be a pretty good choice since it's directly in the center of the idol's face. This method works fine as long as the idol doesn't suddenly disappear out of frame or jump up so that the watermark becomes visible. In that case, use tracking method number 2, which is the one I mostly use. This method doesn't focus on a body part, but on the body as a whole. So instead of moving the frame in all different kinds of directions, it only moves it from side to side. The point is to make sure the body is centered, and not the face. That might still be difficult from time to time if the idols move out of the frame, but it isn't as noticeable as if you use the first method. If you want to spice up your videos or make them more cohesive, then I suggest color matching the fan cams. For example, you can decide to only use fan cams with a certain color in the background, or you can deliberately put fan cams with completely different colors next to each other to create a stark contrast. I do have to warn you that this makes the planning process of editing videos a bit longer, but I think it's worth it. Lastly, and probably one of the most important advice of this entire video, is that you should create your own watermark. Not only does it make your videos more personal, but it also prevents others from re-uploading them without your consent. And even if someone still decides to do so, their viewers can easily tell who's the original creator. The watermark doesn't have to be complex or extraordinary, especially not if you're just starting your channel. It can literally just be the name of the channel or your username and still help protect your creations. Now, I'm going to show you some of my favorite fonts and effects. There's going to be options for both pro and free users, and you can pause the video to read them all. Let's start with my favorite fonts. Next up are my favorite transitions. Now let's move on to my favorite video effects. And lastly, these are my favorite text animations. That's it for today's video. If you have any more questions or want me to upload more detailed tutorials, feel free to ask me in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.